What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on the Miami Dolphins. Another third quarter disaster, as we're now calling it the turd quarter for the Miami Dolphins because they lay an absolute turd every game in the third quarter. It is always a disaster. Like, what in the fuck goes on in that locker room in the third quarter where there's absolutely no adjustments made whatsoever on offense and defense? There is zero adjustments made. And I feel bad for those fans that went to the game today because low key, for a game where there were two teams not like they were totally eliminated from the playoffs, those fans today packed Hard Rock Stadium. And I mean, good for them. But man, imagine paying hard-earned money for this. Imagine paying hard-earned money to fly down to Miami or save money to go to this game and see a game like this. I mean, you've got to feel like you wasted your entire money, like on airfare and hotel. Ridiculous, man. The Dolphins embarrassed themselves in the second half. Honestly, I thought the first half was fine. The defense played horrible all day, but honestly, can you blame the defense? They probably mailed the season in already, if I'm being honest with you. They don't give a rat's ass the rest of the way. Jordan Brooks was missing tackles today. When do you ever see Jordan Brooks missing tackles, bro? Come on. The defense was just bad all game today, which, I mean, was fine with me because I had Joe Burrow in fantasy today. He scored me 36 points. T. Higgins had 53 yards in the first quarter and did nothing the rest of the game. So that was a little bit frustrating. Seems like I'm going to go 1-1 in fantasy playoffs. I'm going to lose in one league and I'm going to win in the other league, which is kind of nice. Would have loved to win in both, but hey, what can you do at the end of the day? But the first half was fine. The first half was totally fine. Offense looked good. Quinn Ewers looked pretty damn good in the first half. You're down 3 going into halftime with the ball, and that offensive pass interference call on Theo Reese Jr., where he looked like he wasn't even trying to run into the linebacker. He gets called for OPI. Next play, Greg Dulcich fumbles the football, and you're like, okay, it's going to be another third quarter disaster for the Miami Dolphins, and that's exactly what we got. 17-14 turned into 38-14. And I don't give a fuck what happens the rest of this season. You must finish what you started, Stephen Ross. You fire Chris Greer. Tua Tagovailoa gets benched. Next, Mike McDaniel gets fired. Once McDaniel gets fired, then you start to get the pieces around him. You release Tyreek Hill or you try to trade Tyreek Hill because he's not going to be on this team next year. Bradley Chubb is not going to be on this team next year. Minkah Fitzpatrick is probably not going to be on this team next year. So you start cutting players where you can get money and you go from there. But you need to start with a clean slate. Mike McDaniel called a really bad game today. He called a really bad game on numerous of occasions. Goes away from the running game again with a rookie quarterback. Goes away from the running game. Go figure. And it's just disastrous, dude. Calling QB sneaks. Now, I know we have a new quarterback, but We've had Tua Tagovailoa as our quarterback the whole season, and we're gonna get to Tua later on in the podcast. We're gonna do the game first because honestly, we're not even gonna talk about the game that much. There's what's there to say? They got their ass kicked in the third quarter. 45-21 was the final score, by the way, today. The Bengals kicked our ass. It doesn't matter. We both suck. But I mean, the play calling from McDaniel, it's just so bad, dude. It's so bad, and I would at least rather start from scratch with a young head coach or whoever we hire in the next coaching cycle than bring back McDaniel. Bringing back Mike McDaniel shows you a reason why the Dolphins are one of the worst ran organizations in sports. Not just the NFL, sports. Because competent franchises, if you fire the general manager, you fire the head coach with them. That's just that you're just being competent. And the Dolphins are not a competent organization. McDaniel, the play calling sucks. QB sneaks is where let's be honest. You think this team practiced QB sneaks with Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback anytime this year? Absolutely not. So why are we calling QB sneaks? I know Quinn Ewers slipped, but that was bad. It was bad. And I wanted to see Quinn Ewers, see how he played today. He wasn't awful. The first interception he threw, that wasn't his fault. The second one was. Made some nice throws. He wasn't awful, but he's not the franchise quarterback. I'm sorry. For all you Quinn Ewers, for the people that are like hype about, oh, Quinn Ewers, we got our guy. He's not the guy. He ain't the guy, bro. Could he compete for the backup spot? Could he be the backup for this team? Sure, absolutely. He's not the franchise quarterback, though. But we're going to talk about this game briefly. I don't even want to spend too much time on this game because we got more Mike McDaniel Tua stuff to talk about, which came out today before the game began. We're going to talk about Tua and Mike McDaniel. Tua was shown with the earpiece in his right ear. He had the clipboard. Hope the sideline was nice for you today, bro. But it was crazy seeing Tua Tagovailoa listed as an inactive emergency third quarterback today. I mean, it's strange. It is so strange, man. And, man, I don't know what to say, but you see that inactive come out at 11:30 and you look at Tua Tagovailoa's name on there, you're like, wow, man. Wow. So, yeah. Tua era is over. Tua time is up. Hopefully the Mike McDaniel era is over with Miami. And like I said, the Cincinnati Bengals won this game 45-21. Disastrous third quarter for the Dolphins again, which was a common theme all throughout the season. And this really goes back to Thursday Night Football against the Ravens. Disastrous first half leads to a disastrous third quarter where the defense allows 2 touchdowns. Even the Bills game where you won that game, no points on offense. Commanders game, no points on offense. The Saints game, no points on offense. The Jets game, you have a lot of turnover-worthy plays from Tua, And then last game was just the icing on top with 7-3 going into halftime. And you got a touchdown by the Steelers, and then a punt, and then a touchdown by the Steelers, and then a punt, and then a touchdown by the Steelers, which led into the fourth quarter. And this week it was 3 touchdowns by the Cincinnati Bengals. All of them were by Chase Brown. So just disastrous, just bad football. The Dolphins suck. They're going to suck next year, too. I'm telling you right now. We'll talk about that, like, when the season's over. There's going to be a lot of young guys on this team next year. And it's going to be a young group. And we'll talk about it towards the end of the season again. But this is going to be a rebuilding season for the Miami Dolphins. I'm telling you guys right now. So let's get into stats for both teams very quickly. Joe Burrow. Hell of a day for Joe Burrow today. 25 of 32, 309 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow is my fantasy quarterback for one of my leagues, so honestly love to see it because, listen, I could care less about the result of this game. It was all about the development of Quinn Ewers and evaluating Mike McDaniel once again, but McDaniel was just so bad in this game again. Chase Brown had 12 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. Samaje Perine had 7 carries for 25 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 9 catches for 109 yards. T. Higgins had 3 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. Chase Brown had 4 catches for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. Mike Gesicki was grittying on your ass in the fourth quarter. That's how you know it was bad. 3 catches, 35 yards, and a touchdown. Interceptions today by Barrett Carter, and the other one was Jalen Davis. So, hey, they didn't get any sacks, so there you go. Quinn Ewers today, 20 of 30, 260 yards, 2 interceptions. Wasn't awful, but wasn't great either. Devon Achane, 15 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Didn't run the ball enough. You got away from the running game again, Mike. Again, they got away from the running game. Jalen Wright, 9 carries, 35 yards, and a touchdown. And Malik Washington had 1 carry for 9 yards and a touchdown on an end around in the second quarter. Jalen Waddle led the team in receptions and receiving yards, 5 catches for 72 yards. Greg Dulcich had 3 catches for 46 yards, even though he did have the big fumble in the beginning of the third quarter, which completely changed the game. The OPI call on Theo Weiss and then the fumble by Dulcich, that was what changed the game. Darren Waller, 3 catches for 40 yards, completely didn't look his way in the second half, by the way. Theo Weiss, 2 catches for 32 yards. Malik Washington, 1 catch, 23 yards. No interceptions, a sack by Zach Zeeler, and a combined sack by Chop Robinson and Kenneth Grant. So, all right, let's get into this game. The Bengals, they get the ball first, and they go 6 plays, 7 yards. They punt. The Dolphins, 6 plays, 33 yards, 3rd and 6. Quinn Ewers had pressure in his face. He got the ball to Darren Waller for 22 yards. It was a very wobbly throw, but it was a very nice catch by Darren Waller. And then they go 3 and out. 3rd and 2, right up the middle to Ollie Gordon, and it was very much short. The Bengals, they get the ball at their own 9-yard line. First play, a deep shot to T. Higgins for 35 yards. 1st and 10, Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase for 11 yards. Second and 7. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase for 22 yards. First and goal, and then just pitch and catch. Just amazing ball placement by Joe Burrow to T. Higgins for 9 yards and a touchdown, which, by the way, I do want to mention, it's very odd how this story came out just now that the Bengals and the Dolphins are playing each other this week. We're playing each other today. The Dolphins, they called the Bengals and offered 4 first-round picks for the Bengals' first overall pick back in the 2020 draft. Maybe you should have just lost that game in 2019. And then you might have had Joe Burrow on your team. Or maybe you should have just taken Justin Herbert at number 5, and we wouldn't be in this situation right now. But I digress. 7-0 Bengals. Then the Dolphins get the ball. Quinn Ewers to Jalen Waddle for 16 yards. And then second down, Devon Achane, willy-nilly, 48 yards and a touchdown. It's tied up 7-7. Bengals go 3 and out. Dolphins, they go 7 plays, 26 yards, and they punt. The Bengals go 11 plays, 53 yards. Second and 10, Burrow to Higgins for 9. They get 3rd and 1, Joe Burrow to Andre Yoshivash with Jason Marshall Jr. on the coverage, which Jason Marshall did not have a good game today. You talk about player evaluation these last couple weeks, Jason Marshall's going to get a lot of playing time, along with Trader, and Jason Marshall just did not have a good day today. Chase Brown, 7 yards. Joe Burrow to Samaje Perine for 8 yards. And then you get to the Miami 24, 1 yard to Jamar Chase. The combined sack by Chop and Kenneth Grant. And then 3rd and 13, you got more pressure, incomplete. And Evan McPherson makes a 45-yard field goal. It's 10-7. Then you get to this point of the game, and this was the best drive of the whole game. Like, Quinn Ewers looked really good on this drive, if you ask me. 2nd and 9, Ewers was able to hit Darren Waller for 11 yards. Achane for 3 yards. Quinn Ewers to Jalen Waddle for 17 yards. Waddle fumbled and Alec Ingle got on the ball immediately. Ewers would again go to Jalen Waddle, this time for 21 yards. And then 2nd down and 6, end around, Malik Washington, touchdown. First lead of the day for the Dolphins. Awesome drive. Awesome drive with the creativity, with the end around, and then just the plays that Quinn was able to make to Waddle. Waddle was barely getting the ball, honestly, with Tua in there at quarterback. The last couple games, Waddle really hasn't been a factor at all. So it was very nice seeing him get the ball by Quinn Ewers today. But the Bengals were able to go down there and get a touchdown before halftime. 7 plays, 56 yards. 2nd and 3 at the Miami 49. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase for 11. 3rd and 10. The pocket broke down. And Zach Sealer was this close to getting a sack on Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow was able to slip out and dump it off to Drew Sample, who took it off for 27 yards. And then 2 plays later, after a face mask penalty on Quentin Bell, Samaje Perine, 4-yard touchdown. And then you got a minute 24 before half. D. Eskridge takes it up to the 40-yard line. And you get 2 running plays for 9 yards up the middle, and 3rd and 1, you run a handback toss to the side. Like, what the fuck? This is what I'm talking about. If you're going to run the ball on 3rd and short, just run it up the middle, you fucking idiot. McDaniel. Just run it up the middle. He doesn't have that common analogy. But whatever. The Dolphins, they start the second half with the ball. And this is literally where things change. 3rd and 4, you got a 32-yard play from Quinn Ewers to Devon Achane. And the refs call offensive pass interference on Theo Weiss Jr., who looked like he was trying to prevent the linebacker. He was trying to move out of the way. And they still called the 10-yard penalty. So you wipe away a 31-yard play to Devon Achane to 3rd and 14, where Ewers just goes to Greg Dulcich, and Jordan Battle fumble. He punches out the ball. Dulcich fumbles, and the Bengals recover. I mean, again, I don't care about the outcome. The outcome does not matter in this game, but that was literally what changed the entire game, was that sequence right there. The offensive pass interference, the Dulcich fumble. It went downhill from there. The Bengals go 6 plays, 34 yards. They got the ball at the Dolphins' 34-yard line. 3rd and 1. They went for it on 4th and 1. Joe Burrow, QB sneak up the middle. Joe Burrow would go to Jamar Chase for 15 yards. And then the next play, Joe Burrow would go to Chase Brown for a 9-yard touchdown. You're down 10. Here goes Mike. McDaniel getting away from the run because you're down double digits in the 3rd quarter. Let's force our rookie quarterback in his first career start to throw the football because we're down double digits at in the 3rd quarter. Great job, Mike. 2 incompletions, and then the next down, he goes to Theo Weiss. It's batted in the air, and it's intercepted by the linebacker Carter. Wasn't Quinn Ewers' fault. The ball just got batted in the air, and it was intercepted. Could you have went to a better option rather than Theo Weiss? You probably could have, but whatever, man. The disaster continues. Joe Burrow to Chase Brown for 23 yards. Next play, Chase Brown, touchdown. Hey, Chase Brown, touchdown. That rhymes. 31-14. And then the Dolphins, they go 6 plays, 28 yards. They get down to the Bengals' 47-yard line after they get 3rd and 8. Greg Dulcich for 7 yards. They run the QB sneak. And Quinn Ewers slips and doesn't pick up the first down. And it's turnover on downs. And I'm on Twitter. I'm scrolling through Twitter. And I come across the Dolphins Talk account. Mike from Dolphins Talk. Shout out to him. He says this, and I'm going to talk about this probably tomorrow or next week, one of those weeks, probably next week, because I got something else. I was going to talk about McDaniel and Tua after this game, but I'm going to do that tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to talk about what was said about Tua before today's game and Mike McDaniel before today's game. Um, the Bengals are 4-10 with the worst defense in the league. And they are beating the Miami Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium by 17 at this moment in the third quarter. He says this, which I absolutely agree with, which again we are going to talk about next week after that Tampa Bay game. This is how many of the 2026 games will look next year. Dolphins in cap hell, playing Ewers or some aging vet at quarterback, and they won't have Tyreek, Chubb, and probably Minka on the roster next year. Dolphins will hang around for a half like they did today, but eventually teams will pull away as the Dolphins' 2026 roster will be littered with second-year players and rookies. This isn't a prediction, it's a spoiler. The Dolphins are entering a rebuild, and 2026 is going to be painful. Today, we got a glimpse of what it is going to look like. He's 100% correct, folks. He is on the money with that tweet. You are going to be seeing the rebuild 2026 Dolphins. And it's going to be a very, very young roster next year. And because of that, they're probably not going to be good next year. You saw games today. You're going to see more of that next year. The Bengals would score another touchdown, 6 plays, 53 yards. Joe Burrow to Chase Brown on 3rd and 3. You got T. Higgins leapfrogging Chase Brown in the end zone. One play this next drive for the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers to Jalen Waddle, which was intercepted. And then next drive, 7 plays, 52 yards for the Bengals. Joe Burrow to the ex-Dolphin, Mike Gesicki. Of course, ex-Dolphins have just been making plays on us all season long. All the last 6 days. Jalen Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and now Mike Gesicki. And at that point, I turned the game off. So I couldn't take it anymore. I had enough. There were better games going on around the NFL than this shit fest. And I turned it off. What can you say? And I hate that this has now become a common trend. But this is going to be a thing now. Unfortunately, where I'm turning the game off. I'm turning the Dolphins game off where it's not officially over yet. And it's not the first time I did it this year either. I couldn't take any more of that Browns game. Once Tua threw that interception in the back of the end zone and the Browns ran it in for 2 yards, I turned the game off at 31-6. And I turned this game off at 45-14. I didn't want to watch it anymore. And I hope that all you people today that said Quinn Ewers was going to be the quarterback and the franchise quarterback, that's not going to be the case unless we absolutely have no choice whatsoever. I hope Mike McDaniel's fired after this season. Maybe after tonight. I don't know. Mike McDaniel's already named Quinn Ewers the starting quarterback against Tampa Bay. So there you go. Yeah, man. I don't know. But there were some things today that came out about Tua and Zach Wilson as the Dolphins, according to Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter. Well, Rappaport said something different, but Schefter said that the Dolphins are expected to move on from Tua Tagovailoa after the season. We're going to talk about tomorrow, man. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow as far as Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa goes. But I'm done. I've had enough Dolphins for the day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night. Stay safe, and as always, stay classy. Fins up, I guess.